Hello, and welcome back to Top 5 Mondays. This week, we will look at the top 5 humans who have done the most damage to the progression of humanity. Number 5, Thomas Midgley Jr. Midgley played a major role in development of tetraethyllead, also known as leaded gasoline, which went into mass production throughout the 1920s. This invention meant that the blood lead content in developing children rose, causing numerous problems, including cognitive issues and physical growth. It was also noticed that the rise in blood lead content matched with violence in adolescents in multiple countries. Midgley is also accountable for the discovery of chlorofluorocarbons, specifically Freon, which as many know had a drastic impact on the ozone. As of October 2020, the ozone hole above Antarctica sits approximately 23 million square kilometers, or 8.9 million miles. Although these two inventions seem insignificant compared to more drastic actions taken by other single humans, it's the widespread impacts that his inventions had and are still being felt today. Number 4, Tropius Lysenko. A Soviet biologist who thought Gregor Mendel was a reactionary whose thoughts had no place in the Soviet Union. He tried to reinvent agricultural practices to maximize productivity, having farmers put seeds very close together under his belief that plants who belong to the same class will not compete for nutrients. He was given the Order of Lenin 8 times for his pseudoscience, while his theories contributed to the deaths of millions through famines that plagued the USSR. Later, he was finally discredited after Stalin's death, but then Mao Zedong adopted his practices, which helped cause the Great Chinese Famine. Number 3. Guy de Chauliac. Chauliac was a surgeon in the 1300s, who vehemently spoke out against another fellow surgeon, Theodoric Borgognoni. Theodoric was a surgeon who wrote about his theories on proper wound care and believed that the best thing you can do to a wound is wrap it and keep it clean. Chauliac hated what Theodoric was writing because it directly went against the teachings of Galen, an ancient Greek surgeon who believed pus was the body's way of balancing your humors. Chauliac's teachings were widely accepted, and it's believed that his ignorance set the development of antisepsis in surgery back about 600 years. Number 2, Andrew Wakefield. His work, ileal lymphoid nodular hyperplasia, nonspecific colitis, and pervasive developmental disorder in children has been directly responsible for the mistrust of vaccines, the decline of Western rates of vaccination, and basically telling everybody that there's a boogeyman underneath your bed. He is directly responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths. He had purposely customized the outcomes to meet the hypothesis so that he could get rich selling safe vaccines and diagnostic kits. Number 1, Emperor Xiangsong of China. In the 12th century, China used to be the most technologically advanced part of the world. Some historians proclaim that they were on the brink of industrializing. Then, Manchuria invaded and conquered northern China. The imperial court retreated to the south and declared Xiangsong, the emperor's brother, the new emperor. China's top general, Yu Fei, rallied the army and defeated the Manchus, and was raring to chase them out, but he gets orders from Xiangsong to back down because he'd rather negotiate. These negotiations led to the signing away of the north half of China. A few years later, the Manchus invaded again. Yu Fei beats them again and pushes them all the way back to the old capital, Kaifeng. However, Yu Fei once again received the order to retreat. Xiangsong was so reluctant to push an advantage because his brother, the true emperor, was still alive. If Yu Fei reconquered China, he might liberate the rightful emperor, thus Xiangsong was actively trying to lose the war. Xiangsong then had Yu Fei executed because he feared the general revolting. During this period, China might have been on the brink of industrializing but didn't have access to enough coal. There are coal deposits in China, but they're all in the north. In addition to this, the Manchus never got their internal issues sorted out, and 70 years later, were easily conquered by the Mongols, who then recruited many disaffected Chinese siege engineers. This essentially removed the one weakness of horse archer hordes, their inability to take fortresses, and allowed them to devastate half the world. Had China been united at the time, and had been ruled fairly, the Mongols could not have done this. Had it not been for the malice of Xiangsong, the Mongols would never have become the juggernaut they eventually did, and the Industrial Revolution might have happened 500 years earlier. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and we will see you next week.